Don't forget to click like and subscribe to the Heavy Underground. The power of the skull compels you.
20 years ago, on the nights of April 22nd and 23rd, 1999, the chart-smashing thrash masters Metallica entered the Berkeley Community Theater alongside the San Francisco Orchestra to record their groundbreaking S&M collaboration. Released on November 23rd of the same year, the band played an additional 2 S&M shows to support this release, on November 19th in Berlin, Germany with the Berlin Symphony Orchestra, and November 22nd in New York City at Madison Square Garden with the Orchestra of St. Luke. For nearly 2 decades, these concerts have marked an iconic milestone for the band, and with a major 20th anniversary at hand, March 18th, 2019 brought an announcement from the band and orchestra that they will celebrate this major event, as well as the opening of San Francisco's latest faceless corporate arena by holding court for an unexpected redux of these historic concerts with the aptly named S&M2. Initially announced for September 6, 2019 as a one-night-only open-to-the-world event, a major online disruption with the brief 5th-member fan club ticket presale led to the announcement of a second, even more unexpected, 5th-member-only show on September 8th. Not wanting to miss the largest Metallica fan club gathering in history, I entered my name in the lottery to purchase tickets and was graciously afforded the opportunity to attend this monumental event. As the symphony members begin to fill out their seats around the central circle stage, the aural clamor begins to swell as the San Francisco Orchestra tunes their instruments for the night's performance. A punctual start finds the San Francisco Orchestra beginning the night with a familiar introduction, Ennio Morricone's musical masterpiece, The Ecstasy of Gold. The crowd fills its dutiful role by loudly vocalizing the legendary melody as the song rises into the San Francisco night. As Metallica join the orchestra on stage, a rapturous cheer rises from the audience. Before long, the ominous vortex of 1984's The Call of Cthulhu gets underway. Adding grandeur and bombast to the song's overwhelming atmosphere, the symphonic flourish has nearly overwhelmed the band's hefty crush with its dramatic flair. Evoking the sinister cool of a James Bond score, this classic instrumental reaches to deeper and greater depths with a masterful symphonic accompaniment. Following the epic heft of The Call of Cthulhu, fellow Ride the Lightning track For Whom the Bell Tolls propels the powerful cinematic scope forward with its hefty, bounding presence. The band's frenetic pace swarms over and throughout the powerful symphony's backing as the crowd gives James's amplified vocals a run for their money. Where Kirk's madman soloing would usually bring the song to a close, the symphony brings a more sophisticated run to Bell's final moments. From the more reserved ending of For Whom the Bell Tolls, a quieted moment allows the room for 2008's The Day That Never Comes to draw to a start. Ramping up the melodrama with his emotive track, James's narrative lyrics and the song's musical twists and turns provide this standout death magnetic number with the sweeping cinematic scope that lends itself well to the symphonic complement. A frantic urgency powers the song into its second half as this incredible performance brings The Day That Never Comes to a harried close. Following the emotional heft of The Day That Never Comes, 1997's The Memory Remains follows with a play on wistful remembrance. Radiating a graceful presence, The Memory Remains works its slow-moving magic on a rapt San Francisco audience. A full-throated sing-along rises to the surface on this melodious number. Taking over the event in the final moments of The Memory Remains, the audience refuses to stop singing the song's memorable refrain. Lars tries to rein in the rapturous crowd, but soon gives up as the 5th-member audience steals an extra minute to serenade the band and the San Francisco Orchestra with Mary Ann Faithfull's iconic part. Recognizing another new song to undergo the symphonic renovation, a rousing cheer follows as Confusion from Hardwired to Self-Destruct joins the updated selection of S&M songs. A thematic coda to The Day That Never Comes, Confusion offers a fist-pumping chorus as the band leads us deeper into the song. A standout San Francisco Orchestra accents this powerful song with a simmering tension. Kirk's solo singes the roof as Confusion notches an indelible mark on the assembled fans. Another hardwired track follows Confusion, with the blistering Moth into Flame further representing the continuing genius of Metallica almost 4 decades since their fabled founding. A nimble quickness flows from the fleet-fingered musicians on stage as the fateful dispensation skips forward on this 2016 track. Bold orchestral strokes in the midst of the onrushing torrent highlight the bombast delivered by the symphony as the amassed musical maestros in attendance absolutely destroy on this current-era Metallica classic. Deep into the first set, an imposing triumvirate of songs muscle to the fore to close the opening half of the night's performance with jaw-dropping grandeur. A phenomenal standout track from the first S&M, the Outlaw Torn slowly skulks from the stage with a knowing strength. A coiling heaviness wraps around the arena as this powerful song from 1996's Load erupts with an emotional intensity that reaches all of the fans in attendance. A passionate performance that ebbs and flows with everyone held in rapt attention. The commanding vocal delivery of Maestro Hetfield elevates this essential inclusion to a legendary level. Initially written specifically for the original S&M performance in 1999, No Leaf Clover follows the overwhelming heaviness of Outlaw with a touch of forlorn hope. Introspective moments rise from the surrounding heft on this criminally underrated classic, only to be overtaken again and again by the song's fateful pull. This S&M standout yields another rabid response from the crowd, with cheers and singing ringing loudly across the venue. With a symphonic elegance bolstered by the band's weighted chug, No Leaf Clover soon gives way to the final song of the first set, the latter-day classic Halo on Fire. Further painting the sonic landscape, Halo on Fire fills the arena with its potent sonic vista. Riding in concert with the band, the orchestral accompaniment further builds out the scope and vision of Metallica's powerful sonic intent. As jubilant orchestral textures race through the song's final ride, outstanding fretwork runs pace with the symphony, drawing the song as well as the first set to an impactful close. Disjointed sounds emanate from the stage as the symphony shuffles about and prepares for the second set. Joining the orchestra on the stage, our favorite loquacious Dane settles in for one of his world-famous Lars babbles. Once the customary greetings had been taken care of and the multitude of national flags were duly mentioned, an enlightening exploration of classical music ensues as the symphony's musical director, Michael Tilson Thomas, joins Maestro Ulrich for a conversation. With Lars ceding the microphone and stage to the resident director, Maestro Tilson Thomas, he begins by introducing the orchestra to a heartfelt round of applause before beginning a quick history of primitivism in classical music. Delving further, a history lesson addresses the ancient, horse-riding, tattoo-having, outlaw Scythian culture from Central Asia before drawing it all together with a primitivist work from 1915. Sergei Prokofiev's Scythian Suite, Opus 20, Movement 2, The Enemy God and the Dance of the Black Spirits, tumbles from the stage with only the symphony marching forth on this thundering piece. On this amazing performance, the overwhelming heaviness possible in classical music is on full display as the orchestra hits with the force of a pulsing dynamo. Welcoming Metallica back to the stage, the classical school known as Futurism gets its due next with Alexander Mozilov's Iron Foundry. With another brief babble about the history of Futurism, Brother Tilson Thomas introduces the song as Metallica and Symphony join in a stark grind to open this piece from 1927. Before long, the horns are bellowing along with near discordant force as the grating sonic din churns underneath. A false stop lulls the crowd before the onslaught rises once again to raise the ground in a loud and abrasive union, marking a forceful exit for this groundbreaking collaboration. Another surprise awaits at the close of Iron Foundry as Kirk, Rob, and Lars depart the stage, leaving only James at the mercy of the San Francisco Orchestra. Standing alone in front of the symphony and almost 18,000 of his closest friends, James's plaintive plea takes the spotlight in a stirring symphonic take on 2008's Unforgiven 3. trading Kirk's solo for a spaghetti western tinge from the horn section. The lush orchestration and stark beauty of this lachrymose rendition of Unforgiven 3 leaves the crowd in utter amazement. Joined by the band's acoustic accomplice from recent years, Avi Vinicure, on backing vocals, the string of unexpected performances continues with a sly and slightly insidious acoustic run-through of 2003's All Within My Hands. This renewed version of this standout St. Anger track has made a number of appearances at acoustic events over the past few years, and this stripped-down version from recent memory lines up as a perfect inclusion for the band and symphony. With a wispy rise from the symphony, All Within My Hands is off and running. At a lurking pace and bearing insidious inflection, the orchestral embellishment on this reimagined version is an outstanding addition to an already evocative song. Offering light and shade until the very end, this devious song snakes through the arena with a simmering malevolence. Following the dark emotion of All Within My Hands, the orchestra's bassist, Scott Pingle, pays the ultimate respect to the late, great Cliff Burton. An upright electric bass, a row of effect pedals, and an arena full of diehards finds Maestro Pingle slowly working his way into anesthesia pulling teeth. Brother Pingle weaves his instrumental forward into the song's discernible melody, and at the preordained time and place, Maestro Ulrich pounds into a solid drum groove, providing a solid launch pad for Scott to drive Cliff's solo masterpiece into overdrive. Offering the highest praise to the artistry of the dearly departed Clifford Lee Burton, Scott Pingle's undeniable bass ability showcases just how special Cliff was. With the crowd still recovering from the hard-hitting anesthesia, the strings begin to stir as Kirk steps up, sitar in hand, to intone the opening notes to the world-traveled and stage-tested Black Album classic Wherever I May Roam. James's hushed lyrics subtly move the song forward, with the crowd feverishly joining in the entire time, while the symphony's accompaniment running throughout the song only heightens the tension with an evocative Middle Eastern flair. As Rome takes the crowd on a rousing journey with the Horsemen in Black, the next song continues a final slide of crowd-pleasing, toe-tapping classics. The San Francisco Orchestra powerfully weaves itself into one's heart-wrenching sonic architecture as the band's thematic reach and the orchestra's immense power further reinforce the cinematic nature of Metallica's music. Symphonic embellishment and some impeccable piano interplay run their course as the song races through a labyrinth of masterful guitar and piano solos until the song's end. As the closing feedback of one fades into the ether, a harrowing descent opens the next track. With a heavy metal flurry, the essential cut Master of Puppets is set to action. With a forceful performance, the band tears into the song's core moments at a ripping pace. Leading out of the delicate middle portion, a rising call from the horn section adds a strong spaghetti western flair to the mix as Master of Puppets readies for its final onrush to its inevitable end. Nearing the end of the second set, Nothing Else Matters takes its penultimate spot on the setlist. The Chase Center takes a brief moment to reflect as the packed house readies for a massive, unifying kumbaya moment. With a brief solo intro from Kirk easing Nothing Else Matters forward, the crowd and symphony infuse an overpowering depth of spirit into this tried and true track, as all in attendance fully invest in the moment in a massive heavy metal sing-along. With James's commanding voice leading the charge, the entire Metallica family rallies behind the delicate thunder emanating from the stage. With the inevitability palpable, the show-closing lock of Enter Sandman soon tumbles from the stage. No matter how many times you hear it live, this song's impact is always loudly evident as the crowd joins in full-throated accord. With the band bounding along, orchestral flourishes flash around the edges. Nearing its close, the crowd only gets louder as this iconic 1991 classic rolls over the thousands in attendance. As the band concludes their thank yous and goodbyes, the arena slowly empties, over 17,000 Metallica fans spilling into the streets, having witnessed an amazing night of heavy metal mastery and virtuosic orchestral excellence.